I don't know. Though America probably has more flat earthers.
No, we were talking about pros about the states, right? That's a con.
Yeah, it's a pro. It's the biggest pro ever.
I guess we can thank the American public school system for that one.
I've met several flat earthers in the wild in the past couple of years. It's weird. That didn't used to happen.
Terrifying.
Did any of you guys hear the text that Dave Weiss was sending to Owen Benjamin, and Owen was roasting him on it? Hilarious. I do like what Dave does and puts out, and like, you know, the app is pretty clever, but he was being super weird.
But you like the app that leaked everyone's information?
It didn't leak anything. It's emails. You already willingly post your email on them. It was just a show of power. Some bunch of weirdos. They spent a whole bunch of money to do what they could have done for free.
Wait, so people's like home addresses didn't get leaked or something?
No, bro, none of that's in the app.
That is like
wasn't the whole point?
Wasn't
the whole point of the app that you were finding flat earthers around you?
Yeah, within a large radius.
Yeah. So it still had your location within that radius, right?
How would that be a home address?
I didn't say it was a home address. I just said it knew your general vicinity. Well, I didn't even say that, but I can explicitly say that.
Yeah, but the claim of it being hacked is not about whether just that that you could put yourself on the map, like within a range. I think it was people saying that it was easy to hack into and to get a bunch of information from it. Isn't that what it was, Oscar? That it was hackable, easily hackable?
I think that's what it was. Yeah, I think like someone hacked it and got like everyone's information. They didn't like publish it, but they like showed that you could do it. I could be wrong, but that's what I remember.
Yeah, there was an ethical hacker who like he did a YouTube video. I forgot the guy's name. It was a weird name channel, but he did a video on it and like, you know, told Dave Weiss personally, like, yo, your app's messed up. It's got issues. I guess Weiss didn't fix it. Like, I don't know the whole story, but yeah, there was something was definitely happening. Something happened for sure. It's a good story.
Basically, what happened was the way he stored the data, think about it like an Excel sheet instead of something that was encrypted. So anyone could have just pulled the data like you would pull any CSV file. Included phone numbers, emails, passwords, stuff like that.
Is there even a password? Like, do you even have to put in a password for the app? Isn't it just an app on your phone? I don't think I had a password to it, or I didn't put any phone number in or anything.
You can create an account, I think, on the app.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm just saying it's clever how, you know, he had an idea to get through censorship or shadow banning by just making playlists. That's the clever part.
What was the thing you said about Owen Benjamin? What's going on between them? You said something that between them?
Yeah. So Owen woke up one day to a text from Dave, and my daughter. It was like a massive rant, like a long text about Israel, and I forget exactly what the context of it was, but he basically just came real heavy with a bunch of information out of nowhere. So, and then wanted to talk on the phone with Owen, and Owen's like, I'm not talking on the phone with you. We can just keep texting. I'm not a big phone person. I'd prefer to answer when I want to answer, and I'd prefer a paper trail because you're being weird. So Owen roasted him for a whole episode, and then quiet down, the baby's sleeping. And then a few days later, or whatever, Dave said, "You're right. I appreciate your honesty and how you portrayed it. Yeah, whatever." He admitted his wrongdoing, but then texted him again a bunch of crazy stuff. Like several days later, went off on him again. So Owen had a whole nother episode bashing him. I'll try and post it in here when I get my kids down, but it was pretty funny. Definitely comical value. And the behavior was very weird. So I've always liked Dave. I know people have problems with him, but I never really like got a bad vibe from anything he put out. I like his interviews. Seems innocent enough to me. But when Owen read those texts that were direct from him, made him look like a weirdo.
Did you like Dave Weiss's take when he said the 24-hour sun in Antarctica was the devil fooling with it?
All I heard
Did he
was
actually say that?
I love that.
Yeah,
quote.
and I didn't hear that at all. I heard him backing Witsit the entire time from people who were basically he was doing logical analysis on what people were putting out, like bad content that flat earthers were putting out, shadows and footprints, and he was debunking a bunch of flat earthers. So they were mad at him about being debunked, but they were being dishonest. They were putting cut videos from the 24-hour streams to make it look whatever, like they edited Witsit's Vapegate video and timed it so that it looked more damning than what it was. Whatever. There was a bunch of suspect things that flat earthers were putting out because they were triggered about the whole observation, whether it's true or not. But I didn't hear Dave say anything that was retarded about it. He was just saying, you're making the whole community look bad by being dishonest or trying to make claims that for a fact that it was fake or that people didn't go there, which is true. Like, it does make it look bad. It makes the whole community look bad.
Yeah, he did do that. From what I understand, some of the debunking stuff, like you're talking about, of some of the claims. But I think he also thought that they got fooled, was one of his theories, at least, that they got tricked and that it wasn't a real sun or it was a fake sun.
Bro,
I don't know what
he
his
said Microsoft Sun Simulator. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Thing.
He definitely did say that. Like he did say he's not sure. He's like, there is other possibilities, but for anyone to say there isn't other possibilities is just kind of weird too. We just couldn't know. None of us were close enough to know. And
I was following it very closely, right? Like, Witsit's approachable. He was available the whole time before he went on the trip as well. Plus, like, the unpreparedness that I see, like, that he basically had like no sleep the whole trip, and like, no, yeah, there's no way that was like. I think they actually went there, dude. Like, there's no way. I literally got the footage from him, but unfortunately it was only the what's the guy's name? Duffy. In terms of the raw uncut footage. So like, it's pretty wild, you know, that you had Jaron, then you had this other guy, Jonathan, who obviously, you know, friends with Duffy, etc. And then Witsit and Lisbeth. And there wasn't really too much, you know, like they had so much prep time. Like they basically lied to Witsit saying like, yo, there's like a bag limit. You can only bring so much. Then when he gets there, they have like fucking big ass duffel bags. Like it was a whole crazy thing. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't see how you could fake it to that extent, dude. Like it was, you know what I mean? But I get it on the outside. If you're just watching his YouTube content and then just watching other people's YouTube content about it without actually seeing it in real time, like I understand the skepticism, but like, you know, I seen it first, like as close as you can get without actually being there too, if that makes sense. So, and you know, Witsit's a Christian. You know what I mean? Like, so past everything else, like I hold that to a way higher regard. You know what I mean? Like as a believer. And I know he's telling the truth. So now Jaron, I don't know. I don't know Jaron. I never talked to him really. He seems the most suspect, in my opinion. You know.
Flippinism.
Oh, what'd you
Beast,
say,
can
Gio?
I don't know. I just made up that. I said flippinism because he flipped. Claims he
Oh.
flipped. And he calls himself Jaronism.
Don't hate the flippers.
Someone say my name.
Yeah, I was going to ask you a question.
Okay.
It sounded to me that in the last thing you said there, that you, because he's a Christian, you implicitly trust his word more, is what I'm kind of getting.
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have a hypothetical for you.
Oh, great.
If you're walking down the road and someone like runs up for the bushes.
Can we start it with gun to your head?
No.
This isn't a gun to your head hypothetical?
No, it's not
All
it's
right.
not a gun to your head hypothetical. And a guy runs
Jeremy,
out of the
you're
bushes.
hilarious.
Guy runs out of the bushes, and then he's like, "Oh my god, that guy over there, he just killed my wife." And then the guy walks out of the bushes, but you see the big gold cross around his neck. Do you believe him? Are you scared of that guy?
This is a stupid ass hypothetical, bro.
Why?
Because if you're a believer, then you know that there's such a thing as the Holy Spirit. Like, and there's a certain testament that has a validity to it if you're a believer. So if that guy failed the test, then yeah, he would be suspect. But
Well, yeah, but how are you testing him?
how do you know? How do you know how to trust anybody?
No, I was just asking if like you would. Like,
How do you know how to trust anybody? Exactly.
I was talking about. You said that there was something about
I'm just saying
someone that
exactly,
would
bro, like,
immediately
that's my
change the
standard.
value you would give them.
Yeah, but
right?
that's my standard. You don't even have a standard.
What? We're talking about your standard right now. Why do we have to go to my standard? It seems like you're dodging, to be honest.
I'm not dodging. I just explained it to you that, yes, as a believer, you hold someone to a higher standard,
Yeah, but
especially
then I
about their
asked you about the guy
behavior.
who came out of the woods and then the other guy had a cross around his neck. Like, if you would believe him, and you didn't answer that. Like, I'm trying to
What
get
about
it in the
Because he
context
had a
of like
gold
the
cross
real world.
on? No, I wouldn't just believe him straight out, right?
Okay. What if he said praise Christ as soon as he came out of the bush?
All right, I'm done. I'm disengaging. You're just being
I'm
a
trying
troll,
to.
dude.
I'm trying to understand the threshold
Why? Why do you care?
because it's interesting to me. I don't have this like. I don't implicitly think I would trust, someone who came up to me and said that their favorite sports team was my favorite sports team in like an actual serious situation. So saying that he's not lying, I don't know how you could really justify that just by saying he's a Christian.
You just want to know how I can be so sure with my, my belief. Well, it's not just one interaction, in terms of with Witsit. It's multiple interactions and certain things that
So
are
it's more so
personal.
his character, like his personal character. Not that he's Christian. It's that you've worked out a rapport with him, and you've gotten to know him and known him to be trustworthy. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give
Glad
you
we
the
cleared that
threshold.
up. I am glad we cleared that up.
Yeah, he's trustworthy for sure. You know why?
Yeah,
I'm
Because he's been
not
consistent.
contesting your opinion of him, of course. Well,
No, but he's been consistent the whole time since I've known him.
Yeah,
Okay, I
and I'm
get it.
just,
Can I speak my piece now? Thank you.
yeah, go ahead.
All
If you
right.
get it, you better get it.
Jesus, dude, it's like pulling teeth with you. Okay. What I was saying though is that this entire thing, the TFE in general, was crazy to think about because the whole year leading up to it, there was a tension about like, yo, are they gonna ice you, bro? Like, are they gonna kill you? Like, you do have, a wife and kids. Like, I mean, you got to look out for your family too. It's like, dude, if they off you, like, it'll be such a loss. But we had these thoughts, right? Like, and me and Gio and other people looked into Union Glacier Camp and like White Desert and just, really deep dove every single aspect of it in order to, see what the heck was going on. So
Yeah, hey, don't get me
when
wrong.
it started getting,
Sorry,
hold on.
okay.
When it started getting closer to the departure date and like things were ramping up, etc., there was hype around it, yada yada yada. They had a sense of confidence, the Globers, that is, where it's like, oh yeah, they know there's probably a 24-hour sun. Like, unless they cancel on that day, like there's probably going to be a 24-hour sun. Like, we just felt it in our gut. And then that wasn't even the only aspect. Like, what's his face? Gleason. In his journals, he also talked about 24-hour sun in the South. Like, there's been talks about it. And, part of me thinks that, like, the buildup was 100% staged in terms of, like, the webcam footage where it would cut out 8 hours, like, right when it would be, like, a reset so you could see that there is a 24-hour sun down there. Like, the vagueness of the whole thing, I think, was done on purpose, in my opinion. Sorry, go ahead.
It didn't seem like you got it, but my whole point was that you don't actually intrinsically just trust someone because they're a Christian.
That's not what he said, though. He just said that it was part of Witsit's character that he resonates with, it sounds like, or Witsit as a person.
Yeah, exactly. And
to
I pointed out
to him
that
that's meaningful. Yeah, but to him that's a meaningful correlation of somebody. So I don't want to speak for Beast, but I mean, maybe like if someone was just a raw atheist versus a Christian, that may be a factor. It doesn't mean that just because they're a Christian means they couldn't be lying or deceptive or evil or anything. I don't think.
Well, it does mean that because someone's Christian, you implicitly trust them more.
Well, they could be a fake Christian, so if
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Luckily, there's no such thing as an atheist.
Could you define a real Christian for me there, Rio?
Well, I mean, at the very minimum, somebody who abides by what the morals are in the tradition, at the minimum. So if they're not abiding by those morals, if they're not abiding by those morals, then they would not be a real Christian on that level.
Okay, so in your view, the message of Christianity is that you ought do no wrong ever.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, why do you like twisting people's words, bro? Like, what are you trying to do?
Understand. Like, he just said,
no, you're not. You're trying to do a gotcha.
Abides by the morals. So if someone does something against the morals, they're no longer a Christian. Doesn't sound like
Why are you arguing with Gio about this though? Like, he's not even taking that. He's not even taking that stance, bro. Yeah, but you're trying to basically box in somebody for some reason. Why? You're not trying to understand.
I'm trying to talk to someone and hold them accountable to what they say. Is that really an issue in a debate server?
No, it's not an issue.
So then,
Not a debate server either.
why? Oh, come on.
It's not an issue, but it's just like, what is your point? Like, what do you? Okay, so I don't intrinsically trust somebody the first time I meet them. Big whoop.
So, like, when you brought up that he's a Christian, it was kind of a nonsense point, right?
Yeah, I mean, how do I know if someone's a Christian before I meet them?
No, I was.
You could be wearing a rosary. You could be wearing a cross. It could be
pointing out that he was a Christian
decoration.
added nothing other than I really like him because he believes in the same God as me. That's
Okay,
all I
well,
was
you
pointing
just
out.
have a very skewed view of it, but it's another layer of authentication. So sorry, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, it's just,
Yeah, Rich. Dude, Rich.
it's
They've
not
spent
really
a lot of
going
time
to be. Oh, I was
together.
gonna get to fun.
Dude, they've spent a lot of time together conversing back and forward, right? Yeah, they do have common values, being with
Well, he should have said
Christian
that. He should have
oriented.
said all these cuddle sessions I had with Witsit
He
made me
did.
think that he can't be lying.
Now,
I just said
dude,
that,
see what
dude.
you're
I
doing?
said ever since I met him, he's been consistent and
I
he's
just brought up the
approachable.
fact that when you
You're
said he
rage
was
bait.
Christian, it's nothing to even say.
Yeah,
It's
you're
a
just a
pointless
troll,
thing to
dude.
say.
You're
You
rage
could have
baiting,
just
bro.
said, I prayed, and God told me that they actually went to Antarctica. That would mean as much.
I don't see why you're doing this really, because I think everyone
Okay, I
else
can mute up.
likely understands generally what he's referring to. I mean, I would say like from the idea that somebody lied about that whole trip, let's say, like from the idea that like as much as like the moon landing, let's say, like the way they lied about that, if someone's implying like to lie about that 24-hour sun trip, the idea, okay, there's different levels. Some people might think that they completely staged it. Some people might think that the controllers or whatever put like a fake sun in the sky. Now, if it's the latter, putting a fake sun in the sky, then I guess the idea would be that they got tricked. Like there's three basic options. Either they got tricked by a fake sun, if there's a real sun there and they took the trip, or the whole thing was staged. From the idea that the whole thing is staged, my sense of what Beast was saying is just that from his understanding of Witsit and being a Christian and so on, to be, doing something that would be like completely staging the whole thing would be such a far shot from anything even related to Christianity to be that much of a deceiver. Like it's not that every Christian is perfect morally. Obviously people make mistakes, this and that, but to be doing like some large scale, complete and total massive deception. Does that somewhat steel man what you were saying, Beast? Is that in the range of what you were thinking of?
Pretty much. And you have a mirror example literally with Will Duffy, who had a sermon where he said it's okay to deceive.
Did you
He also
disagree
has.
with the series?
Wait, what'd you say?
Did you disagree with that series?
What series?
The Duffy series about lying?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because he used it to justify his own lies rather than giving an example and then saying that, but this is like an extreme example. You should never actually deceive people, etc. As long as you have good intentions afterwards. Well, Will Duffy has continued to lie because he says that he's never been part of the flat Earth conversation before 2021, but that's a complete lie because he was Bob Enyart's manager. So, I was just saying, like, he's a perfect example of the opposite. You know what I mean? Of someone that's a false prophet or a false Christian. But I have to run. I'm about to get a massage. Sorry, I just sprinted here. Holy crap.
Enjoy the massage. I would just say this then for the rest of the room. I think
will.
a lot of people who are saying, "Oh, Will Duffy even had a sermon about how it's okay to lie," didn't actually listen to the series about that. Like he references stuff about lying to the Nazis with the person under the cupboard or the person under the floorboards, and he references specifically the story of Rahab, and how it seems like she was blessed for lying. So there is like a little bit of a nuance there. It's not like he's just saying, "Okay, it's good to lie."
Anecdotally, I always had a respect for Witsit for taking on the chin with the vape thing, because the hardest thing to do as like an adult man is to come out to your wife about mistakes that you make. And apparently she had disdain for vaping or whatever. And he happened to have one in his bag from prior trips from when he used to and hadn't before. And I could be wrong about some of it. It's just what I've picked up along the way. But then for someone to be so public and have to come out and admit that publicly, like it would almost be easier for him to have said, yeah, that was my breath, or try to absolutely claim that it was his breath, than to stand up to his wife about it. You know, I've been with my wife for 17 years, married for 10, and that's just hard. That's just a hard thing
It's
to
just
do. So I always had respect about it.
It's just a hostile community lacking in compassion. Maybe he was using it to medicate because he was anxious for being in fucking Antarctica with some other people, the Globe opposition doing the 20. It's a big deal. Maybe he was using it to medicate, but people don't care about that. It's a hostile community.
Yeah, no, I don't think people didn't care about it. My point is totally different. It's like, I just give the man respect for being a man and coming out publicly and saying I vaped, when to all of us that's not a big deal. But in his household he's gonna deal with a major struggle, whether that seems insignificant to everybody else or not. Like, the person you live with and raise kids with is very difficult to go through with that.
Is it worse that he lied about it initially though? Like, that's pretty bad.
He didn't lie about it initially.
That's a worse indicator. I think he did.
He didn't lie about it initially.
I think he even conceded that he lied about it initially.
Well,
he didn't want his wife to know, remember?
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. Well,
yeah,
even more to my point.
But like, he basically, it felt like he just came clean about it. There was videos of him vaping, so it wasn't like some high integrity moment. But also, who the hell cares if someone vapes?
Yeah, well, what I want to know, right, is like he had very little luggage that he could bring along. That would be the most scrutinized sort of bag he would have ever produced. And then what? He accidentally had a like a little vape in there. That's just, I don't know. Something's odd about that.
That's obviously not true. I mean, no offense to Witsa, I don't think it's a big deal. But like, you don't have a 4-year-old vape in your bag and it's still charged, for example. Like, that just doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, no, the lithium batteries can hold it. That should be fine. It's just, I mean, he should have checked every single pocket. Like, he was trying to, like, he had to check that bag 3 or 4 times and check the weight was right. And I don't know, I've traveled a bunch. I mean, yeah, I have carried some accidental things before, but I guess in the chaos of travel, I don't know, it might be excusable. It just seems really weird. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've had a knife taken.
Yeah, I would just say he lied about it, but who cares? It doesn't matter. People lie about stuff they're ashamed of. Like, it's not necessarily a good thing, but it's just not a big deal, and definitely does not mean that TFE is fake.
It is a problem if he's Christian, bro. It's really a big problem if he is Christian, as Biasically sort of was pointing out before. He should not be lying at all.
What's the lie? What is the claim of what? Because I think there was the question, like, when he came back. Okay, there has been the question of whether when he breathed it out on his live stream, when he breathed out the air, because like he had hit the vape before that, whether whether he just happened to have the vape in his lungs and then was kind of also trying to show his breath because he had hit it, or whether he purposefully was like, oh, I hit the vape and then I'm breathing it out, purposefully to fake the breath, right? There's that controversy. But other than that one, what are you guys saying? He lied that he didn't say he had the vape? Because my understanding is at the beginning he might have been a little bit tentative to admit he was vaping, maybe, or something, but he didn't really lie that he had a vape. And I think it was maybe even on this live stream. There was all this controversy, like, did he have one? Did he hit one? What was going on? And I think it's on this recorded live stream, because he says too that I basically asked him, I was like, did you have a vape, or did you hit a vape there? And he said yes, he did. And that was on this live stream recorded. So is that, what are you guys referring to? Like that he didn't say he had one and then he did? Because I think he was just neutral about it, and then when I asked him, he said he did have it. Or are you guys talking about whether he used it to fake the breath? Like what's the lie that
I think
someone's claiming?
I think he initially said no, I didn't vape, or no, I wasn't vaping. And yeah, he did come out pretty quickly though. But I think there was footage by that point. So I mean,
Well, I don't
what else
think
is he
that.
gonna do?
Okay, my understanding is that that's not the case. If I'm wrong on that, I could be shown otherwise. But I don't ever think he said no, I didn't have one. Because I remember when I asked him, I was like one of the first people just to ask him directly, and he said yes, he did. So you're saying there was
Yeah,
a
look,
time before that? There was
he
a time
didn't.
before that where he said he didn't vape or something? You're saying? I'm not aware of that.
It's a vague memory of mine. Yeah, it's not like I don't know.
Look,
More of like a mild fib or something, but I'm pretty sure he did deny it initially, because yeah, he's ashamed of it. That's no doubt about that. So it would make sense that he would initially deny it, then see the footage, and like, he's just got to concede it. But I don't make too much of a big deal of this stuff. I'm just trying to sort of hold to account what happened.
Yeah, I don't even think I would say it's a lie. I think you just misrepresented the situation, and it's not a big deal at all. Like, I'm not saying
Well,
that
I
it's like
did.
the most highly ethical thing, but it's also like people are just like low key deceptive if they think they can get away with stuff. That doesn't mean he's evil or bad or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's still
in
pretty cool.
in defense of Witsit, I don't see it like that. The way from my memory, which the way I saw it was initially someone made the attack on him of you were vaping. Basically, initially the way that this came about was an individual who thought that the whole thing was fake. Okay, so that was their viewpoint. And part of their viewpoint and justification of seeing that the whole thing was fake and it's actors and blue screens or whatever, they saw this vaping thing, and the initial claim was made on him questioning the vaping. But what I sensed was that the question was in regards of, were you literally using a vape to fake there being vapor or whatever you breathe out. And his answer to that, anyone's answer, assuming the thing is real, anyone's answer is no. I went there. I wasn't in Antarctica, and no, I didn't. I didn't take the vape and pretend I'm in Antarctica, because I'm in Antarctica.
Yeah,
And then finally, that part of it is true. Everything is good. And then the very same people that are tried to attack him found another pivot to attack him, which is attacking him on a personal level of him vaping and stuff. And that's it.
no, that's exactly right, Gatebreaker. Because someone, before anyone asked him about it, someone posted that video of him that essentially misedited it to make it look like it was like a GIF, to make it look like he was ducked down right before he said that, and they essentially like cut it up to look like right before he breathed out, he ducked down and then like vaped and then breathed back out, and then
Yes.
when the actual videos came out, like he came out of that little like storage shed building and vaped on the way back. But it wasn't like some deceptive move.
Whose footage was the one that videotaped the actual vaping and that released it? Whose camera was it?
I don't know. It was one of the 24-hour videos. But again, it just doesn't matter.
Was it
like,
McToon's camera? Was it whose camera? It could matter whose camera it was, right? He could have been set up.
he wasn't set up. He was vaping. There was like, it just doesn't matter. Like they were drinking,
Yeah, I know,
they were
but
vaping, they were smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, but what
like,
I'm saying is, who released that? If he had said something to somebody else saying, I shouldn't be doing this, my wife doesn't want this, and then they release the footage. Is all I'm asking is, where's there somebody that whose camera did the actual footage come from?
It's basically there's a 24-hour camera, but the thing is it's a new low in this community. It's a personal attack on Witsit. It's no one's business who vapes anywhere. No one's business who vapes anywhere. But it's because of these people. They were convinced the whole thing is fake. That's a whole nother topic. But so they're evaluating pixels and clouds and Witsit's vape came up. And then all of a sudden, just like Skippy said, he vaped, but he's vaping to vape. He's not vaping it to deceive anyone. But those people saw it that way. That was the vector of attack. And then when that failed, it's stooping to a lower level, a level that regarding him and his wife. Whose business is that? Whose business is people's marital rules and their relationships? The guy went there to fucking go to science to see the sun.
I got that info from watching one of his streams, and then Dave Weiss mentioned him saying it personally to Weiss as well on one of Dave's streams, but he didn't like divulge a inconsiderate amount of information. He just solidified what Witsit had already said on his own stream. So I don't think people were trying to like put him on blast about personal information. I think he was just coming clean himself and saying, this is a hard time that I'm going through that I have to deal with because of whatever, and I regret it. But you know, being a man about it.
All this stuff was. It sounds like you weren't around Discord when this was happening. You're basing it off of streams, and all this shit was hitting the fan before they were streaming about it, and we were talking about it here on Discord. So, I think you were just maybe a little bit late to the drama of it.
Yeah, 100% Skippy. I got on Discord because of Theo last year, and found this channel because of Theo, and it's the only channel I go on other than EtherCause. So yeah, I barely know how to use Discord, but I will say to Geo, Discord's pretty sweet on the Z Fold.
Yeah, but so like as TFE was unfolding, like Witsit was in here every day. Geo was going through all of the 24-hour suns. Everyone was discussing this as like Witsit was live streaming to this Discord server while he was in Antarctica. And so like all the vape shit, all the crunchy snow stuff was all happening like real time here.
Damn, I missed it. But at the same time, it was probably God's plan because I was heavily into my investing journey at that time. Really, really loaded the boat, and it took a lot of effort. So I probably would have been super distracted if I found this.
It's probably better spent making a bunch of money than arguing about whether or not Witsit was vaping with us.
Yeah, I mean, I still spent hours on drives mostly listening to content regarding it, obviously, like prior to all that.
Missing live stream at like proof of Glob Earth, that must sting.
What's proof of Glob Earth? There's not one proof of Glob Earth? Is that what you were saying?
No, I said missing the live stream of proof of the Globe. That would sting.
Oh, I didn't watch the live streams here, but I watched all the content, and there was definitely no proof of the Globe. That's for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Not one shred of empirical evidence of the surface curving.
Hey, Glober's like rich or someone. Am I making that up? That Dave Weiss said the sun was the devil, or is that someone else? Do you know?
I said I love that quote. I hope that quote's real.
That's what I was asking if he had said that, because I don't really watch like all of David Weiss's stuff or anything, but I haven't even really seen any of his stuff in a while. But the guy you're thinking of is Dean Odell.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right.
Yeah. Two of them, Dean Odell and the Russian guy, or maybe he's not Russian. What's his name? Who's the guy that made the Antikythera movie? The Antikythera mechanism. He made a documentary on it. Get out of the room.
I mean, it's just kind of interesting to me that people jumped on the AE map without having verified that. Like, it's one thing to have a viewpoint that there's no curvature or motion. I mean, humanity has had a no curvature, no motion cosmology since the dawn of time. And then this globe idea has come along, and it's a very modernized thing. I mean, they didn't even claim to go to space until the 1960s and see it as a ball. So it's all pretty recent, the whole globe idea and concept. And then there's the whole history of like sticks in the ground and these claimed guys in the past who did things. And then when you look into the Michelson-Morley thing that happened and how they had to change all of physics and so on. So to question that we're not on a globe makes complete sense when you look at the larger stretch of humanity. It's only kind of a modern day belief kind of idea, and then the fact that the governments are so linked into it and all of that. So it makes sense to question that it's a globe, or to be like, oh, there's no curvature, there's no motion. But why a bunch of people jumped on that AE map and even to this day defend it when they have not verified that that's what the map is surprising. Now, it's one thing that it's been presented, it's been out there, we've all looked at it, we've all considered it. It's something to consider, because if you have a flat plane, then you have to have some way the continents are laid out, and putting them with the North Pole at the center, since a lot of people live in the North, makes some sense, just as a general idea of like, okay, yeah, we know that Russia and United States and Canada, like we have the, and we can all see Polaris, the North Pole star, people in the North. Obviously, there's the South as well, though. But I'm just saying it makes some sense to consider that. Also, it was kind of foisted forward. I mean, when you first looked into flat Earth, at any point you're going to find that map is thrown around in the Gleasons. It's the logo of the United Nations and the World Health Organization. They use it as well. So that kind of type of projection is obviously out there. But it just still is surprising to me that people who haven't, even if you have a planar, flat, stationary Earth viewpoint, why one would like defend that map or argue with others, or when they haven't verified it. Why would they defend it? And then the 24-hour sun thing is linked with that, because that type of map concept with the one sun circling around Polaris kind of thing, making always circling Polaris, does not account for that. But it's just surprising to me that people would sort of defend it or have a really strong viewpoint when they really haven't verified it. Like even that flat Earth banjo guy, he hasn't verified the AE map, and he's going on and on about how he thinks that's the case, and how there's no 24-hour sun there. And I just bring him up as just one person, and a bunch of other people that are going out on a limb to try to say that they faked the trip in addition, but all to kind of save that AE map concept. But none of them have verified the AE map. It's just surprising to me that they just sort of took it on board, like people take the globe on board or anything on board that they really haven't checked for sure, and then they promote it or try to argue with others and so on. It's just surprising to me that people would accept that. Even the idea of coming out of the globe, why would they just take another thing they haven't verified on board?
Yeah, but don't you think that most people who came into Flat Earth through like either Eric Dubay or someone like Eric Dubay, 10 years ago, and part of coming into Flat Earth was coming out into that map? Like, not saying that they shouldn't have verified it more, because I agree with you completely. But like when people learned about Flat Earth, like a big clicking point for them was, oh, it's possible to be flat. And one of the reasons why it's possible to be flat is this map. I mean, that was Eric Dubay's, like, one of his main things.
You lost them. Vika Drazev was the other one that was putting out illogical trash.
Yeah, Oscar, I hear what you're saying. Well, it was kind of presented like, I mean, I first started looking into like researching online flat Earth stuff back in like 2005, and of course that AE map is one of the first things you'll find. It's on the Flat Earth Society websites and so on, which was back then, that was like the first search that came up, and so on. So, I mean, it's pretty strongly presented as like the idea of a flat Earth. It does seem to be like it's presented on the internet and in the literature, as it were, as sort of the flat Earth in a way. Not that everybody agrees with that map, but I mean, Oscar, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, it's definitely kind of packaged together with that term flat Earth, and it's Eric Dubay and others, have it on their logos or in their videos, but not that everyone necessarily like says for sure that's the map, but I hear
It's
what
just
you're
how
saying.
it's just how people conceptualized it from the beginning. Because most people were not looking into it in 2004. Most people came in, from 2014 to 2018, and they saw these videos and they started to realize, okay, we, can falsify curvature with these, long distance measurements. But then they still were a little bit skeptical. But then once it clicked into place that there could be a flat Earth map that worked, and they were given that flat Earth map by Eric Dubay and I guess some of the original, Mark Sargent or whoever. And so that's just how they conceptualized it from the beginning. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it makes sense to me why they would be highly attached to it because from the moment they started believing in flat Earth, they essentially believed in the AE map.
Okay, so you're saying that it was presented or packaged or kind of offered on a silver platter, no pun intended, since it kind of looks like a dinner plate. But you're saying it was presented, and then that's why people felt like they could have a replacement, like, oh, it's not a globe, it's this thing, and basically make T-shirts and apps and be like, this is it now. This is my football team I'm rooting for. But is that kind of
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, because it's like if you were to like learn about flat Earth in 2014 or 2015, and all you got was like pressure requires a containment, that wouldn't be enough. You needed the whole package, and part of the whole package was the map. And so like people just like adopted that like essentially wholesale. And then so in their mind, even though they don't talk about it every day and they don't say like, oh, it has to be the AE map, even though I agree. Well, I don't know if you would say this, but in my opinion, the AE map is impossible. But they've conceptualized flat Earth as the AE map, even subconsciously, for the past 8 years or whatever it is. And so like it's very difficult for them to divorce themselves from that concept of the flat Earth. I'm not saying it's right. I just can understand why someone would be like that. Is all I'm saying.
Strong case of model affliction.
So you're saying that that's why you think like some are like defending it, or the 24-hour sun thing is not because they've questioned whether they validated it or not, but they just jumped on it because it was the replacement, and then it has to go with flat Earth in their minds, or the idea of an Earth being flat. Because
Because
like,
flat Earth is a lot more convincing when you can say Earth doesn't look like you thought it always looked like. It looks like this. Doing that is very convincing to some people.
Yeah, because like the way I would put it, Gio, is like someone like me. Like I think it had to be the AE map, and if it can't be the AE map, then it's not flat Earth. And I think other people are coming to similar not a lot of people, but some people are saying, okay, flat Earth has to be the AE map, and therefore we know the Earth is flat, and so the AE map must be true. So therefore they must have faked it. That was kind of a convoluted way of putting it, but do you see what I'm saying? Like they are as attached to the AE map as I was attached, but they're essentially just saying, opposed to saying, okay, if the Earth is not flat, they're saying, okay, TFE is fake. And I think Witsit even said as much to that. Like the reason why people want to say TFE is fake because they're, married to a specific map when it could be something else.
all right, so just to steelman partly what you're saying, or just to kind of frame it, are you suggesting the idea that when people first got into all of this, that map was kind of out there, presented as a visual, everything else, and then the discussion of it, people got attached to it in various ways, and then with the 24-hour sun was very limited access to basically all of humanity. I mean, I've said this, like there was no footage of a southern 24-hour sun at any time in human history, as far as we know, until like 2014. 2014, I think, was the first year that there was even a video, which is interesting. The first time that the flat Earth discussion in 2014 started really taking off in 2014 and 15. So it is a little bit interesting there. But either way, there was really no footage of it until then, and then the first few footages were not very strong at all. I mean, they had like all kinds of issues with them that people were pointing out. Anyways, I'll try not to go through too many off branches. But is the basic thing you're saying that that because of the way that the TFE thing went down and the timing of it, and then the having additional footage and so on, and people going on that trip, that people know in this community as well, on both kind of sides, as it were, are you suggesting that trip implies a few things? Number one, the AE map's false. Number two, they faked the trip. Or number three, it's a globe. Or number four, it's something else that is yeah, it's
Yeah, I
another
mean,
layout.
in my opinion, that trip debunked the AE map. And so that's why I think the dual pole is the most viable flat Earth map. But most people are not willing to even entertain the dual pole for some reason. And so they have to hang on to the AE map. But if they hang on to the AE map and they also think that that would debunk the flat Earth, well, they can't say that. So they have to say that the 24-hour sun is fake. And it makes sense because they were sold, everyone, at least I feel like I was sold, and I think most people were sold the AE map as like essentially synonymous with flat Earth, right? Like it was truth in plain sight. That's why they put it on the UN flag. I heard that thousands of times. They were just like playing us as fools. They were even putting the real map on the UN flag or something like that. The very first flat Earth videos I ever saw, in 2018 when I was first looking into it, it was all AE map. There was no even like discussion of other possible flat Earth maps.
I still think the concept of a sun above a clear firmament, moving above a clear firmament and then creating the illusion of a reverse cycle in the south is viable. Like, I'm not saying that that's what I hold dear to or anything, but it's a possibility.
On a Gleason's AE type of layout.
Yeah. Yeah, because when it's demonstrated in any point south, like anywhere on the perimeter, you would see the same thing.
You talking like the Joe Hanvey thing? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, like Joe Hanvey's thing.
But like I talked to Joe Hanvey about it, and what he admitted to me is that so he shows that to where it shows the 24-hour sun, on the perimeters of the map. But what he doesn't tell you, but he will admit if you ask him, because I did, is you could put that dome anywhere in that circle and it would have a 24-hour sun. So you could be at the North Pole and it would still show a 24-hour sun. So it's like kind of special pleading or whatever you would call that. Like it's not it would be different if like he could show the sun rising and setting like in the middle part of that map and then show it circling on the outside. But in reality, he just puts the dome anywhere inside that bigger dome and it shows a 24-hour sun circling. So it doesn't really show anything in my opinion.
Are you saying it would show a 24-hour sun even if the sun was modeled on like the Tropic of Capricorn?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the Tropic of Cancer? Okay, I got you.
If he filled that whole thing with domes, all would show the 24-hour sun, which is obviously not true. We only have the 24-hour sun on the outer edge.
Well, we have it in the north too. That's why I asked if he modeled it
Not
as a
at the
tight
same
circle
time.
and a large circle. No, not at the same time. That's why I was asking that.
And we know the south isn't bigger than the north. So the AE map will never work.
We actually don't know that. And
We do.
a lot of evidence. No, there is definitely things that point to the south being larger.
No, there's not.
No, there's not.
No,
Really?
there's not. Yeah.
You're just going to
Same as
assert
the
that.
north. You know the size of the north. We know the size of the south. Yes, we do.
We do. So then why is every Mercator map have the southern continents shrunk down and the northern continents enlarged?
Because you people in the north have got big heads and think the world revolves around you.
How do you know I'm in the north?
You tell by your accent.
Okay. I mean, that wasn't really an answer, but it's okay. We don't need to engage in it.
We've got an
Yeah, he's
American
obviously
accent.
asking. He's
You're in the
asking,
north.
what about his American accent? Made him seem like he's not from the South, though.
America's
I
in the
wasn't
north.
that I was just making a pointless conversation because he answered me with a pointless conversation.
Unless you're trying to say you don't know where America is or how big it is, same as me in Australia. But otherwise, it's a baseless claim that you're just making.
It's not baseless. If you look up the actual sizes of continents as compared to the Mercator map, they don't match whatsoever. They're much larger in reality than they are depicted on a map on a common Mercator in the south. And in the north, they're much smaller than depicted on the map.
It is funny because it is funny what you're saying, Moto, right? It's because what I mean is I watch these documentaries. I've watched them in the past about map making and the struggles and like people dying and how it's like nobody, I watch these things and then we step into this arena, flat Earth and globe Earth, and everybody thinks it's so easy. They think it's a 1-to-1. It's so easy to make a map of reality, and the best of the best, can't do it. They say we can't do it, but we can do it, well enough. And then we step in here and everybody knows what everything is somehow. It's tough to remedy that.
Well, I mean, we can't find any distance measurements. I mean, flat Earth has been around for thousands of years. We can't like start with anything. This is not relevant to everyone, but just the ones that like think, oh, we just can't, we don't know, there's no point in even trying. Like, there's no info anywhere about distance measurements, even though the Earth's been flat for thousands of years, apparently.
Well,
Yeah, I
because
mean
the
that's
king's made the
I can
decree
understand
that you can't publish it.
that.
Yeah,
That is
Gatebreaker. It
true.
might depend on to what you take as, like, what someone would take as valid when they haven't verified it themselves. I suppose is what that boils down to. You know, to what degree
Well, a working map.
what information will you take as potentially valid, even though, you know, none of us have necessarily measured the entire Earth ourselves. So we have to go off something, and then to what level will people take that information as valid or invalid?
A working map
Yeah,
that you can navigate by would be.
yeah, it stuck out to me when you said that, Trouble. That was what stuck out to me when you said to the other guy, "You don't know how big America is." Like, how would I know? Like no, without any, with to 100% certainty, or even to any degree. Like, what should
You've
America
never,
look like? This thing that people told me about.
you've never
That's a lot
travelled across
easier,
it
though.
or up and down
That's a
it,
lot
because I've
easier.
travelled
Yeah.
across Australia and up and down it, and I know a general idea of the distances.
Yeah, I've been to almost, I think, every state in the U.S. throughout my life, and I've also driven across the country multiple times. So I would feel within a range of confidence the United States really what we all think in terms of the layout. This is
Cool.
within some margin of error, but it's pretty obvious when you drive across it what you're doing. You know, so in terms of the general size of it. But the bigger issue is how the continents are laid out amongst the vast oceans. That's more what we're talking about now, not necessarily in your neighborhood or even in your country. That, you know, is anyone really contesting the
Well,
countries are laid out? Maybe in South America, that's pretty huge in the Amazon. Like, but I mean, in America, where you can drive almost every portion of it.
well, the south you can fly and you can take boats. So to a degree, you've got to use so much petrol, fuel in the aeroplane. You can't just fly around and hope to find something for days on end. That's not going to work.
I mean, I've always said this, Trouble, even before the TFE event or any of that. I've always said that the AE map, the huge distances in the south, that to me it's always been a bit unlikely that they'd be able to hide that, because you can take a private yacht and go
Yeah.
sail around, you know, if you want. There's cruises. So I've always thought that was an issue with the AE map type layout in terms of those great distances in the south, you know, unless that's really been shown to be the case. But at the same time, I haven't traveled in the southern oceans, you know, and measured it myself or anything.
Isn't that exact topic a major sticky point for the sizes of the South and North, because they have boat races, sailboat races in the South, and the boats go like 40% slower than their average speed regularly in the South versus the North, and that's just because of the equation of time divided by distance for speed.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
if you look
flat, like
up,
a flatter. Yeah, good.
yeah, that's a flat Earth proof. If you look up, I forget exactly which boat races, but it's a sailboat race, and you look up the boat's top speed, and then you look up the boat's average speeds in the South when they do the race specifically in the South. All of the speeds are far slower than when what the boats are capable of, and on top of that, supposedly the winds are higher in those areas, so they should be
No,
going slightly faster.
I
Have you
wouldn't
ever
agree
seen
with
those
that.
boats
'Cause we have
sailing in the
the
Southern Ocean?
Can you say that again? Sorry, I think I spoke at the same time.
Have you ever seen those boats sailing in the Southern Ocean? The sea state is often horrendous, so it's not about the wind; it's about how fast you can go without destroying the boat. Last year, Vendée Globe set a record, 64 days or something like that. And they average 25, 30 knots through the Southern Ocean, so there's nothing wrong with their speed and distance relationship.
And then, not that I totally believe history, because history was his story by the victor, but there was that story about the the man who attempted to sail the circumference of Antarctica that's supposed to be 12,000 miles, and he wound up going 64,000 miles and
Oh my
turning the
God, that
wrong
was
way the whole
Captain Cook.
time.
And he went to
Captain Cook.
islands. He did stop-offs everywhere. He didn't do a straight lap around the Antarctica at all. And he got eaten by cannibals in the end.
Yeah, so it's just a story, but I mean,
No, you got it
that's
wrong.
how.
He didn't do a lap around Antarctica. He went all over the place. He even backtracked sometimes. And we
Interesting.
have the America to Australia yacht race that happens every 4 years or something.
I posted a picture just to represent an idea. If distances are warped, there's going to be, like, let's say, like, southern hemisphere is the globe's wrong and it's the Gleason, just as one example. Simply a sailboat race is not going to be enough. It would maybe like one starting point. In the picture I posted, I kind of like drew a flat ground. Got it. We got these all represents, these are variables of a countless amount of things in which distances will be warped. Celestial navigation, meaning if the globe has, starting off with the top in the stars. In the global model, they've got 69 miles per degree for celestial navigation. If the distances are wrong and it's warped, then the Gleason model can no longer claim or use 69 degrees for miles per degree for celestial navigation. So that's just one example with stars. Going down, the sun. The sun is always over, has a GP at all times. It's over some point of the surface of the Earth, regardless of the shape, at all times. And the sun travels. And there is a time we have a season where the sun goes more near the Tropic of Capricorn for the southern hemisphere. So as it's traveling over that landmass, that will be warped. So whatever the Globers claim, the rotation speed and stuff for the sun, it's not going to be a one-to-one equivalent. Stars are not a one-to-one equivalent. Sun is not a one-to-one equivalent. For the next up, anything in the atmosphere, clouds and rain and hurricanes and jet streams and all these fancy things. The distances, when the ground is warped, the things correlating over the ground, all things above, all the phenomena and elements above, are going to get warped as well. So clouds and rain bands and hurricanes and anything in the air, going on in the air, jet streams and winds going from point A to point B, all of these are going to be warped. There is no one-to-one equivalent in any of this. Going lower, you see an airplane there. Airplanes, flight routes. If the ground is same concept. I don't need to bore you and explain it again. Mountains, car driving, walking on the surface. Distances in general, oceans. Virtually nothing is the same. There is no equivalence. That's all. Thanks.
Yes.
Here's another one that always I ponder about periodically, right? There's submarines passively listen for sonar for strategic reasons so that their signal's not given off if they don't want to be detected, so they'll just passively listen. Well, they pick up whale sonar over 10,000 miles away. And I'm always like, okay, so on the globe, which stretch of water is over 10,000 miles without land interference? And then if you look into it and you look it up, they say the Southern Ocean around Antarctica, about now that if the circumference of the equator is 24,901, then how's there 20,000 miles? They claim there's 20,000 miles of straight ocean uninterrupted in the south. But if you're in the southern hemisphere and you're converging towards the bottom of the ball, then how's there possibly just a few thousand miles short of the entire circumference of the equator of ocean uninterrupted down there? That makes no sense whatsoever. And then that
Maybe
even
they're
brings
not
up more.
going east to west. Maybe they're going from northeast to southwest on an angle. Then you would come up with that amount of water easy.
I'm talking a straight line, because The
Or
the
what?
the
It
ad
could be
hoc
a straight
claim
line, but
for
just not around latitude wise. It could be on it, like I said, going up.
there's a couple problems. I just swiped by accident and it kicked me out. Sorry. Well, for one though, like 10,000 miles would be over half over 10,000 miles they detect them. So over 10,000 miles would be over half of the circumference of that southern hemisphere location where they're detecting sonar from. So to me, it makes the South seem bigger because that only happens in the South. They only detect
No, because
sonar at those distances in the South, right? So
you're going around.
yeah, but there's another portion, another argument for why the South could potentially be larger than it's believed to be. And then on top of that, obviously that proves that the ocean floor is flat because you can't bring refraction into sonar underwater, and they have an ad hoc claim that it just stays in the perfect channel at the perfect height wherever you are versus wherever the whales are, and you detect it and never gets interference from the ground at the bottom of the ocean since it's going more than halfway around a ball.
Yeah, but we know the Earth is flat. We're trying to figure out why the map, like the globe has the map, right? They're like, hey, we have a map, and the map proves that the Earth's a globe. They don't have anything else in reality, but they have the map. So how can the flat Earth get the map?
I wouldn't say they
problem with
have
the
the map because I've never seen anyone bust a globe out to make a trip. So whenever they say they have a map, I
But that's
don't accept
ridiculous. You're
that.
never going to put. You're going to have to put a round giant ball onto a flat piece of paper. I've never
Right,
seen
exactly.
anyone
Every
with a
map
map
has
that
to be
was
flat.
slightly curved. So therefore,
Yeah,
they're
no.
always going to be slightly out of skew if, but the globe itself isn't.
But the globe isn't a map, so the globe doesn't have a map.
Globe is a
Because the
map.
globe is admittedly skewed.
It
Rather
is a
than
map. Of course,
I
it's a
think
map.
I think what can help, rather than focusing on getting the specific correct map, we could look at possibilities, frameworks of how it would be. One possibility that people feel really strongly for, like I don't want to preach to you guys, right? Is the Gleason North Pole in the center? Well, North Pole in the center will eventually Antarctica is going to be at the outer edges. Now it might be half the world, like half of half a sphere of Antarctica could be a full Antarctica. That's for you to decide. Who's going to figure this out for you? I don't know. Maybe the community can work together, but there's these setups and templates and frameworks, and just take all the details out. Like, are you ever going to have a map where Africa is smaller than Australia? Probably not. So you could start to work with like under degrees of error, understanding you're not working with real precise data, right? So going with that idea, you've got the Gleason setup, North Pole in the center, spreads out from there. Then you have another circle for the equator. Then you go out and you've got fucking Antarctica. Then you've got the dual pole, and then so on. It's got to be something. I mean, it's got to be something. Yeah. So that's all. Thanks.
I heard somewhere that the Bible says that you'll never be able to measure the earth, and I take that as like my piece. Like, yeah, the ground is measured flat, and then everything else is. I mean, obviously, it's super interesting to get into the scientific proofs, all the different evidence, but other than that, it's like in order to explain the entire thing, I just take it as beauty. Like this
Well,
is
the
our
Bible
beautiful
was written by
creation. Find
men,
out when we die.
by humans. The Bible was written by humans 2,000 years ago. So I would hope that we learned a little bit in 2,000 years, wouldn't you?
I don't believe anything that anyone claims from about 150
And it comes
years
from the
ago.
Jewish people, who none of you even like. So I don't even know why you keep
Yeah.
pushing your version of their Bible.
Well, what's the difference
ago,
between like that? I mean, even so, if we made a map, right? Like you're assuming that even if we make a map, right, that's the whole world, right? So I mean, that doesn't have to follow, but where does it break down? Like from a neighborhood, so we can know a neighborhood, We can know a town. We can know a city. We can know a state. We can know an accumulation of states, but we can't know an accumulation. Is that the limit? And why would that be the limit? Like why is it limited at? Well, you can know one country, but you just can't know two countries in relation to each other. Why is that the limit?
I don't think it's really about that. I think, let's say hypothetically, the world, it is planar stationary, and we are being lied to. A person can just understand that and just live their days and just understand that, and that's good enough for them. It's on a personal level. Other people, and maybe some of you guys you want to know more, because a lot of these ideas and topics we talk about, especially when it comes to observations and stuff like that, it requires to where things are. How would you know that idea? So it's an individual level. Some people want to know more.
And they're also running on the original flat Earth of the North Pole in the middle, Polaris above it, and an ice wall at the edge. That's the original flat Earth version, and none of them want to admit that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's true.
There's an entire narrative about COVID from 6 years ago that's completely false. So when people bring up 2,000 years ago, it means nothing to me.
There's still people out
Well,
there that
2,000
don't
years
think.
ago.
I'm sorry, guy. Trouble about. I was already in the middle of speaking. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I stopped.
Yeah, the thing about 6 years ago, right? Like, there's people that think that the thing that happened 6 years ago was true, and to this day still walk around wearing masks, though. And they still believe in their heart of hearts that shit's true.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's why when someone brings up the Bible's a book written by man 2,000 years ago, it doesn't really mean anything to me.
2,000 years ago, no one had been to the South, had they? Are there any stories in the Bible about the South?
No one knows what happened.
Is there any stories in the Bible about the South? Is there any stories in the Bible about the South?
What?
All I said was I thought
point.
that I heard there was scripture that says that you'll never be able to determine the size or the vastness of the earth.
There is, and it's in Job. I believe it's Job 38.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with that. And I mean, I know the one person's like made the comment about, well, the Bible's stupid or something, but I wasn't making that. I was just saying that making a map doesn't mean you know the whole Earth or or know the entirety of anything. So I mean, it doesn't. I'm saying, do you take it as that's a limit? The Bible's true. Now, does that limit us? Now we can't know continent to continent because of that. I don't think that follows.
No, I think we could get a pretty good baseline continent to continent. I think the hardest part is air travel and sea travel skews distances between the lands, and the only way to get between the lands is the sea or the air.
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting here on the ground. I mean, this is the thing one of the things I take issue with. We're sitting here, most of us, on the ground, like saying, all right, well, what can I use around me? Because like locations are going to be in relation to another location. So what things can I use around me? And these guys are just flying up in the sky, and they're like, dude, it's right there, done. And they got it figured out in, 3 days. You're up in the air. You got an aerial view, and you're like, okay, there's that one city, there's that building. I'm making a map. Let these assholes sit on the ground and try to figure it out with a compass and a piece of paper. And it's like, where's your map?
You'll never get an accurate ground speed in the air because you have so much disturbances, to get an accurate calculation on that while you're in the air. You have air going against you or with you or whatever. It's a lot of fluctuation. And then you could use lasers or something to pinpoint your distance from the ground, but you still need to know your actual speed in order to get an accurate distance.
So I was actually going through it with a pilot once that was in here called RC Meisty, and they were saying that they could use the plane to get distances to prove that.
So how do you have enough information to know that the North Pole's in the middle?
Can you hear me?
Jeremy, you were roboting a little bit, but can you start back from who you were talking to, the pilot.
No, I'm in a bad spot. Go ahead. Spot.
Then how do you think you've got enough information to know where the north is? The north's at the center. So what, magically you can do it in the north but can't be done in the south?
We can't know what the north is because we're not even allowed to travel in a large area of the north.
Yeah,
Yet you
none
know
of
the
us
north's in
claim
the
to
middle
have
of
been.
a flat earth.
Yeah, but none of us have claimed to have gone and stood underneath Polaris.
You can see it from where you are, though.
Boom.
Sure. What does that prove?
And you all think that
That
the
I can
north is
see
at the
it?
center. Yet, so you don't have any more information than we do in the south, but somehow you know you're right.
I never
And yet,
said that I'm
when I try to
right.
use the same information in the south, that's like, no, that can't be right. Like,
Maybe you were talking to somebody else. You weren't talking to me.
or just flat Earth in general with the AE map.
Yeah. Yeah, the AE map is not flat Earth.
Well, that's
The
what it
AE
rolled out
map
with.
is a globe projection.
Yeah, flat Earth is a description of the ground and a description of stability. That's it. There is no map.
You could
So how
call
do
it
you
what you
navigate
want,
around without a map?
but it's not 1-to-1. They're not 1-to-1 equal. There's differences between them, and hypothetically they could be tested for. So it's not just this thing we could just forget about. Like there is no need to, because they're the same. It's a projection. Call it what you want, but there are differences, and we covered that earlier. But I know it's a tough place to be in because there's no as they say, no one to look up to. No, back in the day you'd have like Jaren and these other people. They've been in it for a few years for advice, copy their ways. I mean, who's to look for? Everyone's on their own now at this point.
As it
Yeah,
should
because in
be.
those days used to say there's no 24-hour Antarctic sun. If there was, it would disprove flat Earth. And then they went and proved that there is one. And now you guys don't know what to do with it.
No, the Ether Cosboys are killing it.
What's holding the water in? Oh no,
I don't
they
know.
got
That's a
bendy
Globe
light. That's right. The
question.
light. So again, the north to a T, but the south is a mystery of bending light and shit.
Just scattergunning
And
trouble.
distances.
No one can keep.
Nope,
and
that's
time travel.
That's a straw man. The South is yet to be covered in the Celthio series. Stay tuned.
No, they've got bendy light.
Nope.
I mean, I'm below the
Hasn't been
Tropic of
covered yet.
Capricorn. You see the sun going towards the ice wall every day in the summer.
You gotta stay tuned. They haven't talked about it yet.
And well, they have in the beginning. I see the southern celestial pole, but apparently that's all bending around from the north somewhere. You haven't even decided if it's Polaris, so all the stars are fake, or if it's just on the celestial equator. All of a sudden, they turn into a mirror reflection, which isn't a mirror reflection.
It'll be
Trouble. What
interesting.
peak? What peak did they occlude in the south?
What?
What peak did they occlude? What peak did they observe in the south of star occlusions?
I don't know. I don't worry about that shit because I can see the southern celestial rotation. I can see the Southern Cross. You have no explanation for where the Southern Cross comes from.
That's not the method. They didn't do the method in the south yet, is what Gatebreaker was saying.
Okay. That doesn't solve the two celestial poles problem. I mean, you've got stars bending around a mountaintop by a degree. Well, how about the 180 degrees of all our stars that are coming from the north?
Yeah, it doesn't solve the problem of the 24-hour sun in the south either, which is the same as the two celestial poles or the two celestial observations that you're saying north and south that differ from each other, but the ground is measured flat.
Well, that doesn't work geometrically, does it? You'd have two rotating poles.
No, exactly geometrically it works. The only
No, it doesn't.
The sky is not proof of geometry. The ground is.
It is.
The
It is
ground is
actually proof of
physical.
geometry.
No, the ground is physical.
There are lights in the sky that are there every night.
Are they physical?
People use them.
Where are they?
People use it.
Where are
Doesn't
they?
matter. They could be frozen
Where are
ghost
they when you
paths for all I
send?
care. People
Where are the
can use them
stars?
to navigate.
Where are the stars when you send some high altitude footage? Where are
Where are
all
the
the
bendy
stars?
stars on the flat Earth?
When you see all the
Where
dark
are the
sky when
southern
something's
Where are the
sent up
southern
very
stars on the
high.
flat Earth? Where are they originally?
If
So
the
you've got
stars
no
are
answers, and all you
physical,
want to do.
if the stars are physical, why don't you see them when you send high altitude cameras up for photography?
Yo, first one to stop asking questions loses. Go ahead. It's your turn, Trouble.
You don't have any answers from the south except to say it's magical. Your world's nice and real up there in the north, but I don't see the sun going where it's going. My stars aren't real. Fucking mountains aren't real. I don't know possibly where any part of my country is. But you guys can work all that out in the north. Congratulations.
What's the term? Like there's racism or bigotry. I feel like you're a bigot against people in the north or something. Weird. It's like you
You
have a vendetta against people
I
from the
think
north.
he's just bigoted towards
Ditto.
flat earthers. People aren't
Because
allowed
you
to
make my
believe
world
that this
magical
world.
when it's
Again,
sorry.
you like to just cut right into the middle of me. I'm
I was
sorry.
talking first. I think we've got a
No, you
time delay,
weren't.
and I stop as soon as I hear you.
Maybe we do. I'll let you go. Go ahead, sir.
I'm a female. You make my world magical in the south when I know
All
it's
right.
not.
I'm
And your
sorry
world is
that I
perfectly normal.
misconstrued you.
That's fine. Why wouldn't I fight back against this? You're making my world magical and it's not.
The world
I'm
is
personally
magical.
not making the world anything to you. How you perceive flat earthers is what I think is the problem.
I used to be a flat earther, so I know all about it. I just couldn't get Australia to work in any way whatsoever on flat earth.
That was shortly after
What do you when you say I
Convo.
couldn't get Australia to work? What do you
Yes.
mean? Yeah,
The
what
southern
do you
star
mean
rotation.
Australia couldn't work?
On the AE map, it doesn't work.
Okay.
What?
So does that mean the AE map is wrong?
Yes, but you're all fighting for it still.
That's
I
a
got people
global
here arguing how the
projection
south's
that
bigger than the north.
doesn't work. All right. Sorry, I might have
Did
cut
you
you off, but that means it's a globe projection map that does not work. I
Have you
don't know
got a
how
flat
you
earth one
square
then?
that circle, but that would have nothing to do with flat Earth.
But you're all still fighting
Your
for it.
globe.
I've got someone in here telling me the south's bigger than the north.
I'm not fighting for anything, guy. I'm trying to tell you that as a flat earther, I don't look to the lights in the sky to determine the shape of my ground that I walk on and measure.
Fine. Let's do aeroplane flights.
Why?
Oh, you don't do them either. So you're down to just what? You can't find the horizon. That's as far as you've got on flat Earth in 12 years.
I can get on an airplane and I will trust that the pilot is going to get me to where I'm going.
Yeah, using a
you need to
globe
go?
map.
You need to go on
No,
Stone's channel. He's done some airplanes. Did you change your position from a flat earther to a glober because the SEC came after you?
No. What's the SEC? State Electricity Commission.
No, the
Security Exchange.
Nice one.
No, because the AE map doesn't work in the south. And there's still people in here fighting for it. And what
No,
I
I
say
was
is,
just
well, that
curious.
makes my world
And then you keep
magical when
ignoring the
nothing
fact that it's
matches.
a globe map. It's a projection based on globe measurements
Yes.
to the lights in the
Not a
sky.
projection
That's
made
it.
on flat Earth measurements, on globe measurements.
Right.
And it worked.
And you just said it doesn't work, though.
The globe map does.
Australia doesn't work on the AE map, is what you said, verbatim.
Yeah, it doesn't work. But what aeroplanes use is not an AE map.
Oh, okay. What do airplanes use? They
A
use
globe map.
charts, right? No, they use
A globe
charts.
map starts from a globe model. Why are you
and how
arguing
did
with me?
they
You
make
know
that
it's
model?
true. You know it's true. What do you think the plane just magically swaps maps in the air
No,
and
I
nobody
don't know why you
notices?
think everything's magic, guy. Like,
You're
No,
the one
she
that
thinks
thinks
it's
that
not
it's
magic.
magic.
Gotta stop calling her a guy, dude.
Yeah, she thinks it's not
That's
magic,
fine.
but I'm curious. Is there anything magical about this world in your opinion?
everything is explainable.
Magic is just something that doesn't have an explanation. So yes,
Yeah,
there are
so is
lots of
there
things
any
that don't have an explanation.
Oh, I like the one where the guy said magic is just science we don't understand yet. That was I like that quote. I forgot who quoted it, but
That's
Well,
pretty
people
good
used to
quote.
think witches were real and they were magic, but we know they're not. We know magicians aren't really doing magic, they're doing illusions.
How do you know that? How do you
Okay.
know it's not real magic? Could be.
Because there are guys that
It's all part of the trick.
dispel how they do it. They've made videos about how they do their magic floating tricks and shit.
How they
Well, a couple of
deceive
guys.
people.
A couple of guys did one thing, and so they're all in on it now.
Do any of you have opinions on that Darius Wright guy?
Never heard of him.
He can
Then
project
the cop
himself
that
or
wrote the
have.
manifesto.
He's probably wrong.
Was it the cop from LA or Cali or something wrote the manifesto? Who
Yeah,
is it?
he can have out of body experiences, like near death experiences on command, and he claims that he was a Glober and had his own out of body experience, and he was able to like travel far enough away from Earth to see that it was flat for himself, and then he saw like the heavens and all these different realms. Whatever, his testimony's wild, but it's interesting
All
at the
right,
least.
listen. If you want just one piece of advice, always lead with astral projection.
That's a good way to put it.
No, I hear that though. I hear that. He saw the whole joint, or what? What did he see?
Yeah, he saw levels of different heavens, like 7 different heavens or something.
Upper ponders. I told you guys this whole time. You guys are sleeping on the upper ponders. Oh, aliens can't come from the sky. What if we're in a layer cake and they dug down or something?
I don't put anything. Nothing would surprise. I mean, you get surprised, obviously, but yeah, I don't try and hold true to anything too strongly. I wouldn't doubt that anything else can happen other than what we think. Upper ponders in the bun cake.
Yeah, bro. Heads are always talking like they can't. Now I know what they're saying though when they say they're not coming from the sky. Like they're probably not coming from like balls floating in space. But it could be like some kind of layer cake thing we got on and they broke on through to the other side, like that song.
The Doors.
Well, it just sounds to me a bit hypocritical that you think he can use the sky, floating around in the sky, to prove the shape of the Earth, but I can't.
Are you astral projecting?
I
Enough
have.
said.
So in a dream state, someone can astro project and know the shape of the Earth, but in reality, someone can fly an aeroplane and not know the shape. Brilliant.
I think you're getting it.
So when they say straight and level flight, they don't actually mean straight and level flight, though.
They just mean level.
No, because to them, level has two different meanings. Go figure. Who would have thought a word could have more than one meaning, depending how you're using it? I personally don't think it was a good choice of words, but it's what they do.
No, on a ball, there's two meanings.
But in reality, there's just one meaning.
No, lots of words have two different meanings. It's crazy to say that there's only level that has two different meanings. Lots of words do.
I think you were confusing who has two meanings of level, though.
No, it's the globe that has two meanings. Like I said, I wouldn't have used it. I was surprised that they call level going around the curve. But I guess they're meaning, I would thought that they meant equal distance from what they call the center of the Earth. So therefore that's level, but...
Yeah, that's right. So a level surface, if you were to pour water on it, the water would have no tendency to flow anywhere. And that's the nature of the surface of the Earth, that it's curved but level, because the water just wants to sit where it is unless there's actually a change in elevation, which is a change in that potential height that you have.
You could tell that to third graders, but adults aren't going to listen.
Well,
lots of adults do listen.
It's quite obvious. So you'd agree, Moto Pops, that if you had a slope on a mountain, where one place is definitely higher elevation than the other, the water will flow down, right? It'll flow towards the lower elevation.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is causing that water to flow down? It's a change in energy, right? To get the water up there, if you had a bucket, you'd have to carry the bucket up, and you tip it, and the water would want to go down to where it was because it wants to be at that lower energy level. It's the same with the Earth. There's the globe has a good explanation for why a level surface is curved, the proof of the pudding is in determining whether that's true or not.
I would say that's a terrible excuse.
Yeah, but you just brought up the yacht racing a while ago. You've got a bucket full of terrible excuses for flat Earth. This is something you can actually measure and do some testing around.
Oh, I missed it. What was the yacht race excuse?
They don't go fast enough through the Southern Ocean in the Vendée Globe.
Oh.
They do. They're smashing it through there lately. Depends on the weather.
I've seen water tested. A gentleman did a simple experiment over 8 miles of ice, put lights at the same exact height, different colors, far apart from each other, and observed it from miles away, and they all stayed at the same height. Simple, done. It's flat, so the water's flat, the ice is flat.
Okay. But on the other hand, you'll then criticize the measurement of the Earth as curved using optical techniques. I imagine that we know that the optics close to the surface are variable, and if you want to determine anything about the shape of the surface, you need to be very aware of what those optics are, and if possible, avoid them altogether. Which is why flat earthers never do curvature measurements between mountain peaks or anywhere like that. They've got to stay down where there's massive uncertainty, and they can potentially bury their cog dis in the uncertainty.
Now, there's apparent curvature everywhere due to optics. You need an external reference to verify whether that curvature is apparent or objective, and it never is
That's a reasonable
objective.
approach.
You mean like from orbit? That's one option.
Yeah.
You could orbit a flat Earth.
I seem to have seen orbits and people videoing the ground below them.
Yeah, you can orbit a flat Earth.
How would you do that?
Yeah. Very interesting.
You go around the ground.
On the thunder.
That's that's not how.
Yeah, what's the mechanism?
Have you seen?
Orbits
seen?
are only a concept because you can't demonstrate an orbit.
Have you seen the Monty Python skit where it's a children's TV show and they simplify everything to the ridiculous degree? So what they say is how to play the flute, and they tell 10-year-olds how to play the flute. And the way you play the flute is you blow in one end and you move your fingers up and down the outside. And that's how you play the flute. A flat Earth, how do you stay not falling to the ground?
That was a cool deflection from you can't demonstrate an orbit, but thank you.
Well, before that was said, I said, how does that work? Because someone said you can orbit the flat Earth. Okay, I said how. You didn't answer.
Who
Yeah,
knows?
and I
We
said
don't.
an orbit is only a concept because you cannot demonstrate an orbit.
You cannot demonstrate a flat Earth map. Checkmate.
To explain how an orbit
Yeah,
will
if
work
you
on a
think
flat
that's
Earth.
a checkmate, I don't need a map of the entire Earth in order to get to my destination. I just need a local map.
Have you ever tried coming to Australia?
No, I've
what local
never
map's going
tried
to do
to
that for you?
fly across the world. I've never tried to
Well,
fly across the world to Australia, although I would love to fly to Australia one day. That would be great.
Why?
Well, people from Australia have done what you haven't done.
Because the weather there is fantastic most of the time. That's what I heard. Whereas
Yeah,
I live in one of
out.
the shittiest. I live in one of the shittiest places on Earth, where it rains like 90% of the year.
Just move.
Nah, I can't. I got a good job.
It makes you
make your own business.
It makes you tough.
My life is easy this way, though.
It makes you tough and hardy.
We have jobs in Australia.
Right there.
Good paying jobs.
Oh yeah,
that's the problem right there. You got used to the easy, normal habits.
You're soft.
feel like
Elbow said you're
I am
soft like a
soft.
Twinkie. He said you're soft like a Twinkie filling.
I'll be honest, everybody. You guys already know my Starbucks order, so I'll just tell you. My wife herself calls me the diva, like because I'm so picky.
You probably use a snowblower in the winter, don't you?
Snowblower.
I got 2 teenage sons now. They get to do the snow pushing.
That's like when I was a wee lad, I was the dishwasher because both my brothers they deliberately did it so badly. They deliberately did it so badly.
I can agree with you because my sons fuck up the dishes on purpose so that my wife does it.
If you want something done right, you got to fucking do it yourself. You know what they say.
Jeremy, we're gonna get away with the wee lad thing.
Yeah, who said wee lad, bro? That was a great story, by the way. That was a great story.
Thank you, Jeremy. Oh, sorry, thank you, Jezza.
It was a good story, and it was Jeremy.
All right, what's the topic though, guys? Come on. Troubled about says the stars are. Troubled about says you guys think the stars are fake.
The magic. She said magic.
I like magic. I mean, sonoluminescence. That's basically fucking magic, dude. Scientists don't know how that shit works. What do you call it when the scientists don't know? Is it magic?
They do know. It's water implosion.
You know what? Yeah,
but they don't know where the light comes. No, they don't know where the light comes from, bro. Red Cloud, hold on a second. Hold on a second. All right. Well, I mean, are you gonna tell us another story, or do you got something?
No, I was going to say what scientists. The number of things that scientists don't know is about like 80 to 90% of everything in the universe. They don't know. They don't know what magnetism is, or gravity is, or quantum anything is, or
No, they say they know exactly what gravity is.
They think they do.
I
Well,
would
they know how
agree
it
with that.
works.
They
That's what
think
they
they do.
claim,
Yeah,
isn't it?
they think they know what's
They
going
think
on
they
there,
know.
but
they can't be seen to be in doubt. That's you have to understand that.
they think if you measure the effect enough, that now you know. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of crazy because it's like, dude, all you did was measure the effect. That really didn't tell you. That really didn't tell you anything other than the effect.
I want ether to come back. I'm very, very serious. I want ether to come back.
It's still here, bro. It's all around you.
Just to get a stick in
You're
some
swimming in
scientists'
it.
eyes.
You're swimming in it. You're like a fish in a fishbowl, bro. The fish don't even know it's in water. You don't even know you're in the ether.
But until the day where it picks up again, the ether hasn't been a thing for a while. So until the day it picks up again, I'm afraid we're stuck with gravity. If you pardon the gravity pun.
I mean, gravity's worse than the way they got gravity at this point is fucking. It's some nincompoop stuff.
No, it doesn't work in big scales. That's the thing. That's why I don't like it.
Andrea Ghez said we can totally dismiss Newton's law of gravity. She did her work with black holes. Got the 2020, might have been 2022 Nobel Physics Prize.
Yeah,
that's not quite correct, Jeremy. We can dismiss
fucking
it
verbatim.
We can dismiss it at scales of the universe or in situations like black holes, but in the scale of the solar system and the surface of the Earth, Newton's gravity is actually very precise at predicting what's going to go on.
It works well locally, but when
Newton's
you go
gravity.
So the thing I'd say to Daza is, yeah, I agree totally. What I think is going on is their observations aren't accurate. I think there's stuff going on up there because they're just looking at optics and looking at the spectrum, and I think that what they're seeing is not what's really happening. That's got to be what it is. Otherwise, the ideas they have for gravity wouldn't work on a local scale either, would they?
Yeah. Why don't you give me some qualifications for Newton's gravity and how we think it works at the earthly scale?
How it works, Newton's gravity doesn't attempt to describe or give you any cause for what is happening. It's more about describing the
what were some
what
descriptions
you expect to see based on mass. So
right,
so
mass and distance.
Yeah,
we can
Newton's
calculate
law of gravity. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Andrea Gez's work was with black holes, and with that work, she said we can totally dismiss Newton's law of gravity. I don't know, and she also went on to say that laws should be universal and are supposed to apply everywhere.
Yeah, right. So it's definitely not a universal law. We know that. We know it has limitations.
Really, what's the name of it? What's the name of Newton's law of gravity?
It was called the universal law of gravity, but it's not.
Yeah.
We know now that it's not universal, right? But we know where it does work, and where it does work, it works well.
I mean, you guys, to be fair, I don't think you guys know what you think you know, just like Red Cloud was talking about. Like, you guys think you know something when you only know it 99%. I mean, I don't think you guys really know anything when it comes to science. Maybe you do when you're lying to me. Like, I don't know, not you personally, but
there's a lot. There's so much to know, and there's so much they don't know. But again, you have to be considerate of the fact, like I've mentioned a few times before, is they cannot be seen to be in doubt or to be indecisive. So that's why they speak so confidently and then reverse course a year later. That's what any governments do that. Companies do that. Any business will do that. They don't want to be seen to be making mistakes. No president is going to get up and say, oh, you know what, I screwed up. He's not going to say that.
Yeah, as far as Newton's gravity, I mean, yeah, that's just with the effect. We see things fall at about 9.8 meters per second on average, maybe, and that's it. I mean, there's nothing to it. Now, however, when you have the mainstream narrative of what gravity actually is, with the bending and warping of space-time, you got a huge conundrum, big time problems, because now that shit doesn't mesh with a whole bunch of Newton's laws of motion.
No, that's not correct. That's not correct.
Well, that's correct. I can tell you how if you want to hear it, but
so general relativity, it doesn't alter the outcome of what we would predict through Newton's laws of motion, right?
Don't you want to hear how it's incorrect before you go on to try to debunk how it's not incorrect? Like, I haven't even told you how it's incorrect, and what do you doing?
Go for it.
I mean, go ahead. What do you even just go ahead?
Yeah,
you don't even know how.
I think I've heard you discuss this before. So it's about forces and accelerations, right? And general relativity takes a different spin on what gravity is. So gravity in general relativity is not a force, but that doesn't mean that Newton's general the general basics of Newtonian mechanics fail under general relativity.
They're completely incompatible, sir. I'll explain how. Newton's first law of motion, he has things moving in a straight line, and he says things will move in a straight line unless a force is acted upon it. And with the bending and warping of space-time, things are not moving in straight lines. They're moving in geodesics. That's incompatible with Newton's first law. If you want to tackle that one, we can go on to the F equals ma. But
okay, so we'll start with that one. So when we say that things move in geodesics, they move in geodesics in space-time. So something can still be traveling in a straight line without being acted on by a force in geometric space, but that path may be will be following a geodesic in space-time.
Yeah, so Newton has things moving in a straight line, and a geodesic is not a straight line. Yo, my man, you stopped for a very long time. I was like being patient and stuff. Newton has things moving in a straight line. A geodesic is not a straight line. It can't be doing Einstein's thing and Newton's thing at the same time because one of them's curving and one of them's not. It's a clear-cut law of non-contradiction violation, A and not A.
But what is the result of that? I'm sorry to use the derogatory word recited a lot, but it is recited a lot. And so what is the upshot of that?
What's recited a lot? The thing I just said?
Yeah, there's an alleged contradiction between Newton and Einstein. Where does that go, though?
Before?
Yeah, you're saying there's a contradiction.
No, I mean, you said I get said a lot. Who says that shit?
You.
That's it? Just me? I haven't heard no one else spitting that shit. I wish they would, though, because this shit is foolproof. Like, this is clear-cut contradiction.
Okay, but what's the argument? What's the argument to arrive at, though?
Newton's first law of motion has things moving in a straight line unless a force acts on them.
Well, can we not then just ignore Einstein for now when we're talking about gravity and the effects of gravity on Earth? Why do we have to talk about space-time?
Because that applies on Earth, bro. I don't know if you knew this. All these laws, Newton's laws of motion, they apply on Earth.
Well,
Einstein's law of gravity, that's also happening on Earth.
Right. But Newton's laws of motion are axiomatic. So we could just, it doesn't matter what you would consider to be a contradiction with Einstein. Newton's laws of motion are axiomatic, axiomatically true, right? And that's what makes them laws.
They're not true. If you're going off Einstein, no, they're not true.
Why are you talking about Einstein, though?
Einstein has nothing to do with laws of motion, Jeremy. Stop it.
It definitely does.
No
Einstein has
Einstein's
Einstein's general theory of relativity definitely has to do with the laws of motion because it tells you how things move. GR.
Okay. All right, but when we're talking about Newton, we're talking about Newton's laws of motion, which are axiomatically factually true. The next word out of your mouth should not be, but Einstein. That's not what when we're talking about Newton's laws of motion, we're talking about Newton's laws of motion.
I know, and when you have them both happening on Earth, you have a problem because they're incompatible with each other.
But Jeremy, the problem is not for us. The problem is that you say there is a problem, but there is no problem.
No, there's a problem, and I outlined it very specifically in detail. There's a problem. I outlined it very specifically in detail. Can you tell me what it is?
Yeah, except that you don't know what you're talking about, Jeremy.
Can you tell me what it is, Red Cloud?
Nobody else except you sees this problem.
Yes,
you and other flat earthers. For some odd reason.
You said it.
Wonder why.
No, it's not a problem.
I detailed what the problem is, Red Cloud. Can you recite back to me what the problem is?
Yes, I can.
What is it?
If something moves in a straight line, but in Einsteinian, it's actually a curved line. Curve in space.
Yeah, so they both can't be happening. So something can't be moving in a straight line and a curved line at the same time, right?
No.
Can I give you a scenario here that might help clarify that, Jeremy? So imagine you're in space, right? Away from planets, in the middle of deep space, if you assume it exists, right?
In a galaxy. Can we be in a galaxy far, far away?
Far away.
Yeah, we can be in a galaxy far away.
That's my line.
And
you can't use my line.
Moving along, right? You're not a rocket. You're just traveling through the galaxy.
I'm swimming. Can I be swimming?
Yeah, if you like, you can swim through the galaxy. And
through the ether.
Yeah. So you're moving through the ether at a velocity. And as far as you can tell, you're traveling in a straight line, right? And somebody observing you from nearby would see you go past in a straight line. But you're also following a geodesic there. But the geodesic is almost a straight line because there are no nearby gravity sources. And if you move that situation close to the surface of the Earth and you see something in motion, you'll notice its path is curved. And but the observer traveling in that curved path, they don't. If they can't look out, they don't know what's going on, right? And I think that's kind of what Einstein's saying there. That the geodesic that you follow is that natural trajectory. In the Newtonian case of something on Earth, that curved trajectory is caused by the force of gravity. But in Einstein's relativity, that trajectory is caused by the space-time geodesic.
Bro, you guys are tap dancing around this shit, bro. Einstein's got things moving in a curved line. Newton has things moving in a straight line. It's A and not
geodesics
A.
can also be straight.
Something moving in a straight. Hold on. It's not geodesics because they're not straight. They're curved. I know they say they're straight in their geometry, but they're actually curving in reality.
So the geodesic
that was
is
your
in
argument.
space-time,
that was your argument. Is a geodesic is actually a straight line?
So if you're following a geodesic in space-time, that can be a straight line in space.
No, in 3D space, that will be a curved line.
Not necessarily.
No, guaranteed. Guaranteed it's not a straight line.
If you're not close to any gravitational sources, it could be a straight line.
No, even if you're super far away from a gravitational source, the claim is these gravitational sources go forever. So no
Yeah,
matter
but the
how
curvature
far
will
away
be
you
almost
got,
zero, right?
so no matter
It'll be straight.
almost zero. Yes, not straight, almost straight, not straight though.
It'll be so straight you won't be able to tell any. You'll have no means of determining otherwise, right?
But we would know it's not straight because GR tells us it's not straight.
Yeah, but geometrically, it will be as straight as you could possibly imagine it could be.
It won't be as straight as I can possibly imagine a perfectly straight line, but in its geodesic thing, it's going to be curving, however slightly. And it only gets worse when we get closer to the surface of Earth, which is where we were supposed to have all this happening at. Because they said, oh, but when you're on the surface of Earth, it all works out good. But it doesn't. Okay. You had to bring me out to the middle of space in a galaxy far, far away to even make this feasible, and it still doesn't work for you.
So you give me a situation on the surface of the Earth where we can push something and it will continue to travel in a straight line.
Yeah, so you're saying Newton's first law is not true? Okay.
No,
read
Newton's first law. Read the law. Just read the law.
I've read it.
What it says.
I've read it.
What does it say?
It says objects will move in a straight. You want it like verbatim in his old school handwriting?
You can look it up. I don't care if you know it off by heart. I don't need people to cite chapter and verse for me. That's not a gotcha thing for my mind because I don't have a very good memory yet either. But no,
it says an object in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by another force.
Right. So on Earth, the other force is gravity.
No, it's not a force. We're talking about Einstein. Gravity is not a force.
You keep talking about Einstein.
There's no force there. Yes, we're comparing Einstein to Newton and saying and how it's incompatible. You keep wanting to not talk about Einstein though, which is half the topic.
Yeah. Let me have do you have a reference, Jeremy, that says that Einstein and Newton are incompatible, or is this just something you made up?
I got quotes from Feynman. I don't have them on hand, but there are quotes from Feynman, and I think or one of his lecturers. There's quotes from Shankar, whatever it is, however you say his name.
He's not talking about the laws of motion when they're saying those things.
Yeah.
No, he definitely is. He's specifically called out F equals MA, specifically.
There definitely is not. Please show me these quotes again.
I mean, can someone bring up the Feynman lectures or the QED something? One of Feynman's big speeches he gave.
Rudolf Schenker's. And the Scorpions.
It's not him. That's not the Schenker I'm talking about, clearly.
Or maybe it's his brother, Michael.
Either way, guys. You can't... Newton and Einstein... Newton's laws of motion and GR... Newton's first and second laws of motion, his third one may be fine for now. But his first and second ones are completely incompatible, and there's a law of non-contradiction violation going on with them. When you compare Newton's those two laws to general relativity, there's a clear-cut, undebatable... It's not even debatable.
So, Jeremy, would you... Sorry, Red Cloud, we better say something.
No, please go ahead.
So, Jeremy, would you say that, let's take the case of an orbit of a satellite around Earth. Would you say that general relativity doesn't predict the same geometric path that Newton's laws would predict?
Oh, definitely doesn't. You're talking about like the retrograde of Mercury?
No, just an orbit of a satellite around Earth.
They should be off by a very tiny amount.
Yeah, so essentially,
if you keep going down the decimal places. If you keep going down the decimal places, they'll be off. But it's not about the math that I'm worried about. It's what's happening in actual physical reality. And in actual physical reality, a geodesic wouldn't be a straight line. Just like the F equals MA one. There's just a law of non-contradiction there. Like I didn't make this shit up. It's just there.
Yeah, you are making this shit up because nobody else I can find says what you say.
I don't either. I just don't see the contradiction. There may be slight contradictions or slight irregularities, but I don't see massive.
It's more than slight. It's big time.
No, it's slight. It's slight unless you're really close to a big gravitation. How big? This big Mercury problem they had. Do you know what they're talking about? They're talking about 43 arc seconds per century. That's like tiny.
Yeah, the math's not right. I know.
43 arc seconds per century. If you're going to make a prediction based on Newton and be off by 43 arc seconds per century.
Yeah, I know. The math isn't the same.
It's damn
the math isn't the same. I know.
What do you mean the
it's
math
close. Are we playing horseshoes and hand grenades, or what are we doing
here?
Yeah,
we're playing horseshoes and hand grenades here. Exactly. Because rather than go through all the tensor equations, we can use Newton. And unless you're going really, really fast, like a big fraction of speed of light, you're really close to a powerful gravitational field, or you're really small, you don't have to worry about it. I mean, small, like atomic small. So generally,
like I said, the math.
Newton's laws. We use Newton's laws because they're. I gotta go.
Okay, bye.
All right, goodbye. Like I said, the math doesn't match. What's happening in physical reality doesn't match. The math just doesn't match, and the physical reality thing is completely contradictory. It's an A and not A scenario. Literally, the law of non-contradiction violation textbook.
So, do you think that Newton's wrong and Einstein's wrong? And then, if that's the case, then what is right?
I think Newton's right.
So gravitation. Okay. Well,
just my personal opinion. I think Newton's right.
Well, I agree with you, because they're axiomatic. So
you're saying, dude, stop with the axiomatic thing, bro. That doesn't matter.
It's just,
you can't
dude,
have both of them.
It's a big word. I like to use it. Okay.
It doesn't make you sound slightly smarter, but nonetheless, though, like they're contradictory to each other.
The accent helps me sound smarter than I am.
And forces absolutely exist in general relativity, just not a gravitational force.
I was going to ask you,
that's making things. The force that's making the contradiction happen. I know.
No.
The missing force that's making the contradiction happen. I know. That's my whole argument. Yes.
So in general relativity,
there's nothing you could say.
If we have non-gravitational forces causing accelerations, they are dealt with in much the same way they are in Newtonian gravity. They push things off the geodesic, and but the only thing that is described fundamentally differently is what gravity actually is. But everything else, it's pretty much the same. The force is no longer just a simple force; it's a tensor force. But there is room for the application of Newtonian-like forces in a general relativity paradigm.
Yeah, just not the missing force. Just not the missing force. It's just not the missing force that's making it there be a contradiction. That's all. Yeah, that's the thing. You're saying the same shit I'm saying.
Hey. Okay, I'm going to start speaking. Jeremy, keep your peace for a second, please. I was trying to get a word in. I'm just kidding. You're okay. Daz, I was going to ask you a question. What was the... I'm so fuzzy on this because it was like 3 years ago we talked about it. There's the discrepancy in time between orbiting satellites and ground stations, explained by relativity. Could you expand on that and jog my memory?
No, other than that changes in gravitational potential impact the time component. But yeah, I don't really understand that well or at all.
Okay, all right, that's okay. That's okay. I just remember talking about it a few years ago, and there was a difference between the chronometers on board satellites compared to chronometers on the ground.
Yeah, I know in GPS there's a couple of effects. So the velocity component causes time dilation, and they have to account for that. The acceleration, the circular path has another impact, I believe, and it may be the circular path at a different gravitational potential, which causes it. So I think there's 3 time-based impacts that they need to apply to GPS clocks to make them tick at the same rate that they do on Earth.
Depending on how high the satellites go, like Himawari, for example.
Yeah, I think the height is important because there's obviously general relativity is all about gravitational fields, and where you are in the field impacts your space-time stuff.
So the faster you go, time slows down.
The faster you go, but also where you are in the gravitational field impacts time for you as well.
Okay.
I think
we can get into more of that some other time. I don't want to bore everybody with my Star Trek questions.
Dude, GR is a fairy tale they brought in as an ad hoc or post hoc or whatever you want to call it as an excuse for why they didn't measure the orbit in Michelson-Morley. That's all it is, dude. They were shaking in their little booties when they found out they didn't measure the orbit. They were like, holy shit, what are we going to do? You think they wanted Einstein? Do you think they wanted Einstein with this stupid space-time shit? Dude, they didn't want that. It's unfalsifiable. No. Like, there's nothing you could do with it.
Yeah, they wanted Newtonian and to have measured the Earth to be in motion. Yeah, that's what they wanted. And they had to settle for Lorentz contractions and Einstein.
Yeah, they got them spaceships and satellites. Worked out all right.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. I wonder if they would. Can they perform? That's actually kind of, I don't know, right? Like, so now we can apply the Michelson-Morley, demonstration, measurement, experiment, whatever you call it in your paradigm. We can apply that with to the satellites to find out what's in motion.
I said, there's thing you can do to, never mind. It's okay. I've lost my train of thought.
Like you would adhere to the satellites are in motion, right? Or do you think that they're not?
They're in motion. They're set in orbit in motion. When you see a spaceship,
you never know what's moving.
You go straight up.
According to PhDs, you can never know what's actually moving, and that's a silly question to even ask.
Yeah,
That's
it's the same.
PhD physicists. You don't know if the satellites are moving, dude. PhD physicists don't know if a car or a tree moves, if they crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. They yeah, they simultaneously don't know things and do know things. So at the same time, in the same mind, they don't know, but
It's
then
brutal.
they do know. So
How brutal is that?
It is very brutal. So there's a high
Imagine
degree of
trying to debate
certainty
someone like that.
Well, that's what you get for being really, really intelligent. That's what happens. There was a video on YouTube, and I didn't watch it, and it said how your intelligence is hurting your life. Because I think you can overthink things and get drawn into these problems. But yeah.
You're saying you get so smart you don't even know if a car or a tree or what's moving? The satellite,
If the car hits a tree, or the tree hits the car. Yes.
You're you went stupid. It's like Girls Gone Wild.
It's
over specializing.
But one thing you can tell is about the accelerations there. You might not be able to tell who's got what velocity, but you can definitely tell about the acceleration of those objects when you observe them.
Off an accelerometer?
Yeah.
You're saying off an accelerometer?
Yeah, or even by observing changes in velocity, you would be able to determine the acceleration.
I don't know. So when we drop something, is the ground moving up or is the object moving down towards the ground?
I would think that if I saw two planes flying in opposite directions but on an angle to each other, there's no way I would assume that they're not moving. But I would assume that it's because the Earth's spinning under them that they're moving. That wouldn't make sense.
Well, it's the same thought process that says we cannot know anything, or science doesn't prove anything, right? It's science can prove things. I've said this repeatedly. Science can and does prove things, but once you get too high up in the rungs of academia, you're not allowed to say that, because they'll look at you in shock and get a whiteboard and spend the next 4 hours telling you why you're an idiot.
Well, it's supposed to explain things, same as like maths. Maths doesn't have to be proof of anything, but it should be an explanation of that thing.
Isn't it so that you can prove things in mathematics? Or you cannot?
You can.
No, I think you can, but you can also have a wrong formula, have a formula, but it doesn't work. Just because you have a formula doesn't mean it's instantly going to work.
I don't think you can prove things with statistics.
No, I was just going to say statistics, you can lie easily.
There's a good book you should look for called How to Lie with Statistics. It's a great book.
Pretty sure they started saying that right after Mickelson Morley too. That science doesn't prove things.
No, science doesn't prove things have been said for a long time. If you guys.
That's the one that's
Except when you were telling us for years. Except when you were telling us for years that Bear.
Go ahead, Bear.
Except when you were telling us for years that science proved Earth was a globe. Other than that, though.
That's why I said science can prove things. I've said science can prove things. So if I'm the one that said science has proven the Earth is a sphere, then that's on me. I didn't capture what Bear said about Bill Gates, though.
You don't want to know.
All right.
It's just that there's that picture of Bill Gates. He's got his little stack of books next to him, and one of the books is How to Lie with Statistics.
Really? It's a great little book. You should look it up.
Mm.
My favorite has to do with the price of kumquats. Where you raise it, it's say kumquats are a dime, and you raise them a dime. You raise it a dime every week, and at the end of like 10 weeks, you announce that the percentage increase in the price of kumquats over the last 10 weeks has decreased by 90%. You know, because the first one from 10 cents to 20 cents was 100%, but like the 10th one from $1 to $1.10 is only 10% increase. So you raise the price of kumquats the entire time the same amount. It's just that the percentage increase has gone down.
I hear it's standard reading at NASA.
You want to hear?
It's standard reading among most people who deal with statistics. Yeah.
Well, here's a crazy, like there's a crazy statistic. You know, the guy that hit
100% of the time, our rockets launch 30% of the time.
The guy that hit Bill Gates with a pie, he's still in jail to this day.
No.
No, he's not. He never even got in trouble.
Oh, okay, good. I was going to say that cannot be right. That's full Trump. He's got to, yeah.
So I think, I don't know that we need science to prove that men and women can only a man and a woman can create a child, but I would think science would prove why that's true.
That's the thing. That's in theory that I've just made up now on the spot. I think they create this ambiguity in science so they can do things like that. So they can say men can have babies.
Well, not all species work that way.
But the human one does.
Did you guys know that frogs can have, like, the male frog can be a girl frog, and that frogs can even give birth out of their mouth as like, you know. Do you guys know that?
We're not frogs and we can't do that.
Yes, it's frogs.
Lord, please don't bring up seahorses.
Yeah, seahorses. Or hyenas.
Oh gosh.
Hyenas, again, hyenas. They find that a lot of zoos don't have any babies because they have like all male or all female hyenas because you really can't tell. Well, the Learning Channel. The Learning Channel has a show called "My Husband is Having My Baby," so it must be true.
Let's call it the Leering Channel from now on.
Yes, thank you.
I know. I'm still laughing about that. I am still laughing about that. They go to Minnesota. It's spelled learning.
Gally played a video the other day that was interesting. They claim that they claim that the hiccup. Did you know that the hiccup is a remnant from when you used to be a fish? That you're trying to breathe in the water. He's a science.
That doesn't sound right.
What's the other irrelevant? There's another irrelevant thing. There's an episode in Futurama where they find the lost city of Atlantis, and Fry gets with this mermaid girl, and they're in the bed, and he's like, "Well, okay, what happens now?" He says, "Well, you leave your eggs on here, and I lay my eggs," or something like that. And you just next thing you see Fry running away. It's really funny.
Like Fry reminds me of like some people in this room, like kind of like somebody in this room. But the saddest episode. I guess we should when the dog
waits for him for 20 years outside the pizzeria.
Did you watch the movie with Tom Hanks and the blonde chick where she was a mermaid? What the hell's that called?
Yeah, it's called Splash. Yeah, that was Daryl Hannah.
He was hot.
Oh yeah, big ass nose from frickin' Roxanne. That was the one when dude. Steve Martin with that big
Steve
nose.
Martin with the big nose. Movie. That was good, wasn't it? He did make some good ones. Have you ever seen LA Story? And in the restaurant, and the whole place starts shaking. It's an earthquake, and no one, just the waiter comes along and deals out the rotary, shakes the cheese over the salad, and everyone's drinking the wine, everything's shaking and falling over. No one reacts. That was great.
I like the jerk. The jerk's better.
I do like the jerk. That's funny.
Somebody is trying to shoot these oil cans.
He was raised a poor black child, but he didn't fit in. So that's how he found big band.
Dude, this is the best pizza in a cup around.
Yeah, you're old like I am, Bear. So you remember the wild and crazy guy with the banjo. He can really play the banjo as well. So anyway, sorry, enough about Steve Martin. Anyway, Gravity.
Not Gravity, it's Uppity and Downity.
I tell you what, Bear, do you remember the TV show Soap?
I do, but I didn't watch it. And that's like asking me if I remembered
The Waltons.
No, I watched a little of that, like
MASH.
Junction. I didn't watch Petticoat Junction. I didn't
there
watch.
You go.
They're
Hogan's
cousins,
Heroes.
Wonderful cousins, and you'll find they like to talk alike, they talk alike. Oh, the lovely. What the hell was that?
I don't know. They didn't export them. They exported a lot of things, but that wasn't one of them. We got the Addams Family, but not the Munsters. And then we got the Flintstones, but not the Jetsons.
Oh.
Yeah.
You got robbed.
Yeah. The Flintstones isn't as good as the Jets, but actually, the Flintstones aren't bad.
We got I Love Lucy, but not Gilligan's Island.
Foul.
Right.
Gilligan's Island was only. Did you know that was only 3 seasons? I felt like it was on for 10 years.
It's still on, dude.
Oh, the Patty Duke Show. That's what I was doing.
Oh, was
Patty Duke
Show? I
yeah.
did get that.
Did you guys get the goodies in America?
No, they haven't heard the goodies.
Yum, yum.
Goodies.
Did you guys get Lancelot Link? That seems like a English show.
Lancelot Link? Was that a cartoon?
Lancelot Link, Secret Chimp.
No.
Lance.
We got Hong Kong Phooey.
It was real chimp. Yeah, we got Hong Kong Phooey.
Hong Kong Phooey. That was Scat. What's his name? Scatman Brothers.
Did you get a Great Ape?
Yes. We got all the Hanna-Barbera. All the Hanna-Barbera.
Dude, who was he? Beagly. Great Ape.
We got the Hair Bear Bunch.
Captain Caveman.
Captain Caveman!
Who was the snickering dog on Hanna-Barbera?
That was Muttley. That was on the Dick Dastardly show. That was the Catch the Pigeon.
Dude,
and also Penelope Pitstop. And that race they used to have.
That was the Wacky Races.
The Wacky Races. Yeah.
Wacky Races.
Pat Pending and Penelope Pitstop and The caveman.
Speed Racer.
Yeah, and then
the gong show. Speed
The-
Racer was like, you know, they'd show his face like, and then it'd be all still, but like sweat would be like flying, and like Speed Racer, whack, man.
There was the mobsters in the car with the machine guns. What were they called?
Yes.
The anthill. That was it. The anthill mob. They were the anthill mob.
Gotcha.
With all their feet underneath the car when they needed to turn directions.
I like Pat Pending. Pat Pending's car could change into anything.
Oh my gosh.
And of course, it was Dick Dastardly and Muttley.
Cartoon.
Dick Dastardly and Muttley got their own spin-off, which was Catch the Pigeon.
Yeah.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was a spin-off show.
The Flying Ship was the cartoon. Remember that? Like, kind of the whole gang with the ship.
Yeah.
Flying. That was like their, I don't know. It's their poster. It was like a poster of it or something. All like the whole Hanna-Barbera. All of them. Like, what was that? The Humanoids? Was it called the Humanoids? Was that Hanna-Barbera?
No, no.
With
Well,
the
maybe it
guy
was.
that shot the he looked like a rhinoceros that shot things out of his.
Oh no, I don't remember that one. I remember Top Cat.
Called the Humanoid or some shit.
Top Cat, the indisputable Top Cat.
Dude, I don't remember that too good.
No,
I love that
Top
show.
Way better.
Top Cat was good.
Yeah, it was good. Set in New York.
Did you get things like the electric company? Did you have an electric company or a Sesame Street?
We got Sesame Street Electric Company now.
Because electric
Yes,
company
same.
had this poor trash Spider-Man. It was
No, I remember
Spider-Man
Electric Company. Electric Company was dope, bro.
Yeah.
Remember the Spider-Man? He threw this rope net and it would land on somebody. It was ghetto as shit. It was the ghettoest net. Like,
Not Spider-Man.
yeah, dude. On Electric Company, Spider-Man was ghetto.
Did you get HR Puff and stuff?
Oh yeah.
HR
Puff and stuff. Yep. The one I love the best. The one I love the best, and I think you will all agree. I don't know if you'll all agree. The banana splits.
Oh my gosh.
Love that show.
What was that